What does the future hold for reality TV, Housewives, and even this reboot of Vanderpump Rules? I hope you're ready because today we have the king of reality TV on, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of good tea out of him, so get ready. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. All right, without further ado, please welcome the one and only Mr. Carlos King back to No Filter.
Hey, Zack, how are you?
I'm good. I can't wait for the tea spilling sesh we're about to have.
Good. No filter, and we're not using any filters, so.
Oh, just lots of really good lighting. The warm lights and the top lights, and we make sure we're well lit.
Yes, you look amazing, darling. You look amazing.
Thank you. I'm recovering from last night. I went to Spotify's Wrapped party last night, so I was very well lit last night as well.
Okay, perfect. Any tea you got to spill for me?
There wasn't well, Kesha looked great. Kesha performed. She looked great.
Love Kesha.
And then Normani also performed. Do you know Normani?
Oh, of course I do. An amazing dancer, singer. Love.
Yeah, she was grinding up on that pole last night. It was good. They had a Ferris wheel. What's that? Or the carousel? What's the one that goes around in circles?
I think it's a Ferris wheel. Yeah. I think
Ferris wheel's with the animals that goes in this way. And then you ride the horse and it goes up and down and up and down.
Clearly, I don't ride anything, so there you go. I sit and talk on a microphone all day.
Oh, that's your favorite position. Got it. He just sits there.
Oh, Zack, no filters. Where it's at.
No filters where we're at. So I don't know if you caught the news that Teddi Mellencamp and Erica Jane have just announced their new podcast, Diamonds in the Rough. What are your thoughts about the podcast and Teddi finally addressing, speaking of riding, the horse trainer on the podcast?
What's so funny is I had no idea we were going to talk about this, so this is great. I actually was listening to some of it this morning on my way back home from the gym. I am a huge fan of Teddi Mellencamp. She's my girl. I love her. I love Erica Jane. And what was so interesting is when Erica Jane was guest co-hosting 2Ts to talk about OC because Tamara's not allowed to do it, just for the OC for obvious reasons. I love their chemistry. I love the chemistry between Erica and Teddi. Yeah. So first of all, let's get into the cover art of is it Diamonds in the Rough, right?
Diamonds in the Rough, yeah.
Love the cover art. I'm a sucker for a blonde. These two blonde bombshells. I love the cover art. And I love their chemistry. And I haven't finished it yet, but I left off on the part where Teddi was getting into kind of what her and Edwin are going through without saying too much. And Erica was like guiding her. So look, I think it's a great idea. And I'm going to be somebody who listens to it weekly.
Yes, I love I love Teddi and Erica individually. And when the news was first breaking, well, here's a little bit of tea. I actually called Teddi and let her know, hey, by the way, people are talking about you riding the horse trainer. And I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, listen, there's a rumor. I just want to give you a heads up that this is going out there. Like, I want you to get ahead of it. And so,
Did she respond to you?
Oh yeah, we talked and like I was like, listen, and here's the name of the guy. Like I have all the details. So if I have the details, like somebody's gonna run this story at some point. I didn't want to be the one to break that story. I was just doing Heather McDonald's podcast on Monday, and we were talking about it, how like behind the scenes we were all hearing these rumors. I don't know if you were hearing anything, but like somebody was trying to get the story out there, and we were, we'd heard about it, but none of us wanted to be the one to break the story because like it's about a marriage and kids and a family and like, just out of respect. But like, obviously once it breaks in the news, then it's, it becomes fair game. But I remember being like, you just need to like lean into it. You need to just like go on the podcast and just like speak your truth, Teddi. Like just go and, just really lean into all of it. And now I'm glad that she's doing the podcast and she's kind of opening up about it. Like I said, I like them individually. I think the podcast will do well because they have good chemistry. I hate the cover art though.
I like What do you hate about it?
It looks too cheesy.
It's a podcast cover art. It's all of our
Listen,
cover arts are cheesy, Zach.
no, but if you look at all the other, because Two Cheese has like 8 million podcasts under their feed, and if you look at all of their different cover arts, they all have great cover art. And this was the one I was like, you didn't give me like an Erica.
This
See,
one?
I like that one. They have like the Marisol and Alexia podcast and the two Jersey Jays and the Eds.
So you're not feeling this?
No.
I think it's you know what I like about it? It's like the dolls. You know what I mean? It's very like Valley Encino, the dolls. You know, like where's Nicole Scherzinger? You need her. Like it just gave me like a pussycat doll. You know, when I grow up.
It reminds me of Kim Kardashian Hollywood. Remember her video game with the Kimojis?
Yes. And did you not live?
I mean, but that was like 10 years ago. Like I don't know. I wanted like a sexy cover art of like Erica and Teddy together. Like Teddy, listen, she got her new face and she looks incredible right now. And I'm loving this era for Teddy. And now she's going to be single. And I want her to ride all the horse trainers. I love Teddy Mellencamp.
Well, we're not going to. I don't think we should suggest that people should be having affairs allegedly.
No, not affairs. I'm saying now that she's single and divorcing Edwin, now I want her to ride all of the horse trainers. Like I want her to live her best single era right now. I would love nothing more than like an Erica and Teddy dating, like take us into that world, right? I want to hear about their dates. I want to hear about Erica having sex with Armie Hammer. All of it.
Oh my God. You haven't really thought about this.
Yes. That was the first question. When I had Erica on the podcast, I was like, listen, I just need to know who's better in bed, Scooter Braun or Armie Hammer.
Aren't they both married?
Well, but the rumors were that she had hooked up with both of them. The Armie was like her neighbor, and then Scooter she'd met years ago, and she's like, I actually haven't slept with either of them. And I was like, I would let Armie nibble on one of my ribs. Like he can get it.
That is so funny. I think Scooter is like more her speed because she loves a powerful man. But he's married. So like pre like marital bliss, you know?
Yes, we don't encourage breaking up marriages. But speaking of fractured marriages, how are you liking Beverly Hills this season?
I love it.
So
don't know if you know this about me. The moment Dorit Kemsley appeared on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I was a fan. Listen, I'm a reality TV producer. I'm a reality TV viewer. I'm a fan, and I love the genre. I love any person who is courageous and brave enough to be themselves unapologetically with no filter. Like, and that's who she was. And I was impressed that this woman came in on an already established show and really immersed herself as being like the villain. But the villain in a way that I thought was likable. Unfortunately, the audience didn't think she was likable. So she gave us great commentary for 2 seasons, and then she became a shell of herself. She became very much like, you know, not wanting to be read on Twitter. Because unfortunately, a lot of people think Twitter is the real world, and we all know that it isn't, right? So my girl Dorit is back. She's better than ever.
Listen, I loved Dorit through all the years when everybody didn't. I loved her when she was homeless, not toothless. I loved her with her sweet wind chimes. I loved her with Beverly Beach and all her other businesses that have seemingly just disappeared. I've loved Dorit from the beginning, since when she had the golds, you know, in her hair at that first party. Dorit was just, you know, I've always been a Dorit fan, and I'm glad that we have her back. Like, she's flipping off the camera in the confessional. She's smoking her cigarette. Like, she really came to play this season, and I'm here for it. More than Kyle. And I love Kyle, I think, is the queen of Beverly Hills, but I feel like Dorit is really fighting for that top spot.
No, I listen, anybody who knows me and listens to my podcast, Reality with the King, they know that my favorite housewife that I did not work with, because I got to do a disclaimer, because I work with all the girls.
Yeah.
My number one favorite housewife that I never worked with is Kyle Richards. I love her. She, in my opinion, is the queen of Beverly Hills. It's her show. She's a force multiplier. She's the anchor. Kyle this season, we're only like 3 episodes in, right? Dorit's coming for my girl Kyle, and Kyle isn't looking too good.
No.
And the reason why I say that is because when Dorit explains the reasons why Kyle is mad at her, and we keep seeing the flashback of like BravoCon, and I'm like, I didn't see anything wrong with what Dorit did. I think Dorit has always had like this bubbly, fun personality. And it appears that my girl Kyle looks a little petty and it's not looking too good for her. And what is so interesting, which is why I tell my reality stars, whether you work with me or not, you have to be yourself. Everybody's loving Dorit this season. She has a 99% like tens across the board rating when it comes to like the viewership. People love her because I feel like she's being herself.
Yeah. She is. And listen, I feel like the real issue is Kyle is upset that Dorit talked about Morgan. She said their friendship, lessened when Morgan came around. And like Dorit wasn't shy about discussing the Morgan situation last year. Whereas I think some of the, like even Erica was a little more reserved when it came to Morgan out of respect for Kyle, where Dorit was just like, listen, we have to talk about this. Like there's the music video, there are questions. Like, so I think that's what Kyle was more upset with Dorit about. It wasn't about Bravo. Like, I think the whole BravoCon thing, or Kyle saying that it's this, accumulation of all these little things that have built up over the year. I don't think Kyle's being honest about what the real issue is.
And I think that's a problem. And I think that's the reason why when you are on reality television, the most important thing you have to do, one of many, is the fact that you have to authentically be yourself. Like that's the number one thing you can do. I agree with you. I don't think the reasons that Kyle is saying to us are the main reasons. It could be a reason. It's not the main reason. And I do think a lot of it has to do with Morgan. I think Kyle wants to protect that friendship. I think Kyle wants to protect Morgan not being talked about anymore. I think Morgan did not realize how major the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills franchise is. And the moment you're on the show, everybody's in your business. Yeah. And I think rightfully so, Morgan wanted to take a step back. And I get that. But I think Kyle, if she can't be upset with the fact that you brought this woman on the show. We saw you guys get tattoos. We saw you attend her event. We like it wasn't like, the girls are talking about something they saw off camera. We're seeing it on camera, and you can't deny the chemistry that Kyle and Morgan has. You just can't deny it.
Yeah. Lori says, can you imagine Teddy getting back on because she's living with Kyle now, which was revealed on Diamonds in the Rough?
I want Teddy back on television, whether it's the OC, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Potomac, Dubai. I want Teddy back on television.
Dubai died. R.I.P.
I know. Maybe she can resurrect it like she has done, the podcasting industry. I'm teasing. But I listen, I think Teddy, unfortunately, has received a bad rap that I'm being honest with you. I don't get it. I listen, you don't have to like somebody, and that's fine. I don't get why people hate her this much. But again, social media is not the real world. She and Tamara, who another person that people seem to hate on social media, they literally have the #1 podcast in TV and film.
Yep.
So they're doing something right. So Teddy, to me, deserves to get back on television. I have been saying that for years because she's not the Teddy Mellencamp that she was when the show first started. And let's have a real conversation. Dorit has been a snooze for 4 consecutive seasons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, give me a break, Kit Kat Bar. Let Teddy come back and let's see what she gives. And I would start Teddy off as a friend of, just to test the waters. And I do think Kyle, and I'll end with this, Kyle being the sort of like force multiplier of the show, the queen of the show, I think it's important that she has a real friend because none of those girls are her real life girlfriends.
Yeah. So, question for you, because you come from the producer side of things with all of the noise on social media, which to me, it's more of just like an echo chamber, right? One person says one thing, another person jumps on it, and then suddenly everybody like is in agreement. Like, I hate Teddy. She's the worst. She's so boring. She's so which you can say like Teddy may be obnoxious, but I don't think she's boring. And I've always liked her. I've always thought that she's kept the show going. She kept the needle moving. But so, from a producer's perspective, how much do you take into account the noise on social media? Like, do
I,
you listen to that? And what do you do with housewives that listen to that?
as a creator and producer, I don't listen to it. I don't listen to it. Social media represents 2% of the population.
Yeah.
I say this respectfully. I didn't contact Twitter or social media when I cast the show, when I created it. I don't need anyone to tell me how to do my job.
Yeah.
Right? It's
you
okay.
don't want to listen to Barbara from Minnesota that thinks that she has an idea on who you should fire?
Yeah, Barbara, I love you, and if I could call you Babs, Babs, I appreciate you being a loyal fan, but I don't need your unsolicited opinion about how to do my shows.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the love. I have never in my career, and I've been doing reality since 2008, so it's like almost 17 years. I have never once looked to social media to figure out, like, do I keep this person? Do we get, I don't do that. And the unfortunate part is a lot of reality stars live their lives for the applause of the public.
Mhm.
And you will never be happy because the public, they're fickle. We just talked about how Dorit was hated for so long. And this season, everybody loves her.
Yeah.
So you have to be yourself, and you have to be somebody who understands that one day you're going to love me, the next day you're going to hate me. And it's the one thing that Tamara Judge has always said: you're only as good as your last episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Erica. People hated her the 2 seasons where we went through the Tom Girardi scandal. And now everybody's liking her again. They're listening to the podcast. Like, she's really had a full circle moment where she's now back in everybody's good graces and people are starting to like her again. So what do you listen to when it comes to what stories you want to focus on, or what housewives you think need to come or go?
I listen to my gut. I listen to my team of producers. We're the experts in all of this. I listen to my network executives. It's a collaborative effort. We're the experts here. And we kind of know where we're, we know what we're doing, right? So
Yeah.
we have a good sense of like what makes sense for the overall scope. And I think when you look at social media to represent your decision making, you're going to fall short because you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not looking further down the line. Does this make sense 2 years from now?
Yeah.
I look at the person's willingness to give their real life. If a person feels like I don't want to give that, then they should not be on the show anymore. I respect reality stars who are like, you know what? Thought I like it. I don't. I'm out. I look at Diana Jenkins, for example, somebody who probably next to Lisa, I would say she's on the level of Lisa Vanderpump and Adrienne Maloof in terms of like wealth.
Yeah.
I think Diana Jenkins was like, oh, this will be fun. Like this is cute. And once she got on it, she was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to attend the reunion. I'm going to be in Hawaii, and you guys got to zoom in. And I'm not mad at her for that. I'm not mad at anybody who decides to leave. I'm mad at when you don't want to give your real life and you still try to stay.
Crystal Minkoff. Listen, Crystal, it's lovely in person, but when it came to the show, I was happy to see her leave because I'm like, you're married to Rob Minkoff. This is Disney director, and your taco party was like, Denise Richards drinking tea on the couch. Like, what? I was like, give me some. Or when poor Kathy Hilton came over and they didn't even have a cracker for her in the kitchen, I was like, you guys knew that the cameras were coming and Kathy's, you couldn't put a little charcuterie, a little goat cheese from Trader Joe's. I was like, come on, guys, let's get it
little
together.
hummus action.
Okay.
And listen, my opinion with Crystal is I think on paper she made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And my opinion, I think the real Crystal would have been a great housewife.
I
I think she, and this is my expert opinion based on human behavior, I think she hid her real self. I think she tried to like be something she thought the audience wanted. And again, you're just never going to win in the end. And the reason why Dorit again is winning, Erica's winning, is because they're being themselves. And Erica never, in my opinion, there was never a season I thought that Erica was pretending to be somebody. When she was going through the worst time of her life with her now ex-husband, and she told those girls, what about me? Like, yeah, PC wise, that's not the greatest thing to say, but she was being herself.
Yeah.
And it's okay to maybe say the wrong thing from a public perception. But if that's how you feel in the moment, say it.
Listen, that's what my mom said. She's like, I'm watching this show for the first time. And she's like, and they're all getting mad at her about the earrings. But she's like, come on, you're going to tell me none of those ladies would have kept the earrings themselves? She's like, I would have kept the earrings. If I have legal bills due, I'm keeping those earrings in a safety deposit box until the IRS comes and they need a paycheck. And then I'm going to pawn those earrings and I'm going to sell them. She's like, anybody that wants to think that they would give up the earrings. And even, what was it, Cherie that they brought on as a friend of it. I loved when she told Garcelle, she's like, come on, you're going to tell me you would give up those earrings too? Like, I would keep them. And Garcelle was like, what? You would keep them?
Yeah, it's like, let's have a real conversation. And again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Listen, I'm not in front of the camera on the show. Yeah. But I think what's missing is no one wants to have real conversations anymore. And the moment I realized they all were sort of like being PC is doing another moment where Erica wasn't saying the quote unquote PC thing. Kyle sort of like, I can't defend you.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are we talking about here? Like, no one talks like that in real, like if me and you are at Tom and we're talking about stuff and you say things I don't disagree with, I'm not going to say, well, Zack, I can't defend you. Cause you'll be like, well, girl, who else is around here?
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Daily Dose of Donna says, what are your thoughts on the new RHONY? Is that a social media hate thing or a real hate thing?
Honey, it's real.
Okay. Did you see when Andy put the tweet out for questions and everybody's like, yeah, my question is for Ramona. Where are you? My question is for Dorinda. You said that pigeons don't fly with eagles. How do you feel about the pigeons this season?
What I say to you, listen, sometimes social media can be a lot, but baby, other times it can just make you laugh on a stressful day. I have to say, I got my life with those comments. I thought it was the funniest thing. Like, so Luann, how's the cabaret going? I'm like, you guys are so funny. Look, it's no surprise. I've said in my own podcast, I'm not into this season. I'm just not into it. And it's what I said 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I don't like people who aren't real.
Yeah.
Those are very beautiful, successful, accomplished, talented women who are New York savvy. They're not reality stars to me. They're not self-deprecating. They're not trying to show you something that may be a little bit like off. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not trying to showcase the real life. I'm shocked that Jenna Lyons can get away with not showing her fiance. I am shocked. I don't care to see the fiance's mom if I don't see the actual fiance.
She in her defense, she does show us her closet often.
So if I was watching Closet Confessionals on Peacock, then I would love it. I'm watching The Real, hence the second word in the title. I want to see The Real. I want to see those conversations. And I think what needs to start happening is people who want to join reality TV, I think you have to ask yourself, am I willing to show it all?
Yeah.
Or in the words of Bethany Frankel, mention it all. Like, and if you're not, it's okay to say, this isn't for me, and maybe there's other things I can do. Start a YouTube channel. Do you know what I mean? Like, do something else. But to to get on reality TV and they get upset with like, you want to see my real life?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't want you guys to see my real life. I'm not going to sign on to do a reality show. I'd rather produce it. So you have to be honest with yourself. And the Real Housewives of New York City, to me, I just think it's just not a show that represents the reality of women in New York City.
I feel like it was on paper, right? Oh, this one does this and
Yes.
this one's that, and let's get it a lesbian and let's do all these things to like hit all the check boxes of what we want our housewives to be. They have this bracket of money and they live in this area and they have this apartment and they have this husband and whatever. Without casting based off of personality, it was casting based off the checklist of, what they think a housewife should be.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jenna Lyons on paper makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think Jenna Lyons on Fashion Police makes a lot of sense. Not a reality star. And again, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
Beyonce would
yeah.
not be a great reality star. She's a private woman who chooses to focus on her art.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a diss. I think people just have to be honest about it.
I was shocked that Jenna Lyons came back because even in her press tour for the first season, she like hated the show so much that like I was shocked that she even agreed to come back and that they let her come back and let her not talk about her dating life and her personal life. That was wild. And even the scenes that we're getting on the show now, like Brynn opening up about her assaults or Erin opening up about her abortion, even those moments to me feel forced rather than them being organic conversations that are just happening amongst these women, So even like, I feel like it's a cheap shot to try and hook the audience with like these emotional, sad mom stories that to me are just they feel like they're intended to like evoke an emotional reaction so that I'm supposed to connect with these women and I'm just not. It's just not there because I don't feel like any other part of what they're giving us on camera is real.
Yeah, I haven't watched any episodes this season. I tried watching the first one and then I
keep
stopped watching.
trying and I get through like half of an episode and then I'm like, okay, I tried. I gave it another shot.
Are you still trying like even today?
No. I tried the other night when I was waiting for Salt Lake City to premiere. I was like, well, let me give this New York one more shot, and I just like made it 20 minutes in, and I'm like, I just like Brynn now has a book deal. Like, who gave Brynn a book deal? And then on camera, she admits that she's not even writing the book; that the ghostwriter's writing the book. It's an advice book, and she's like, I'm telling the ghostwriter my stories, and then the ghostwriter is putting the advice in the book for me. And I was like, then it's not your book. Like, what?
Is that another prank?
No, then the whole prank of it all. Oh man. Okay, well, speaking of reboots, it was just announced that Vanderpump Rules is going to be rebooted. Do you have faith in this reboot?
Good question. I mean, I would be a liar if I didn't say, my initial reaction was like, yikes, because of what's going on with New York City, right?
Yeah.
I miss the old gals. I miss me some Carol, Dorinda, I miss the girls. So although I do believe that the OG cast of Vanderpump Rules needed something to shake them, you can't deny how amazing the cast and the show once was.
Yeah.
You can't deny that. And to know that we won't see them is a little sad. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see a new crop of real friends. I'm hoping that it's real people who work at the actual bar who also have real connections and friendships. And I think it's going to be a win if that's the case. But listen, the cast did it to themselves. If I'm being honest, they lost the plot.
Yeah.
We enjoyed seeing the come up of these people. And I think the moment that they all stopped working at the restaurant, rightfully so,
Yeah.
because once you make it, you do leave. I think they became a lot of egos.
Yeah.
Started to happen to them. and they lost the plot and they lost their show.
I mean, I really think Ariana, and I know I get a lot of shit for this, but I think Ariana really did kind of hinder the show because she really created a divide amongst the group, and we had the conflict without the resolution that I think these shows often need when you have a big fracture in the group, like the Scandal event.
Yeah, and listen, Ariana, obviously, no woman should ever go through something of that magnitude. Um, what I thought was interesting was at the end of the day, Tom and Ariana were living in the same house together post
Yeah.
the breakup, and we were not allowed to see any interactions between them, but they were on the same show, living in the same house. I think the biggest mistake was the fact that Ariana did not want to have a conversation with him because what happens in reality television, a lot of people think they're bigger than the show. And they feel like, well, if I don't give them that, that person can maybe lose their job, but I'm here to stay because I'm the star of the show.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that was probably going on. And Ariana's success right now, I'm hoping she can admit this too. A lot of it is because of the scandal. So
because of the scandal, Carly.
Okay, like
how bad for her, and like Macy's was not going to put her in the parade, if without her being the scorned woman that got cheated on.
Yeah, so like when your massive opportunities are flourishing because of an unfortunate situation that happened to you, I do think you and your team have to say like, okay, let's figure this out because we want to keep this going.
Yeah.
I would have, if I was on Ariana's team, I would have said, I think a conversation at the finale where it's a huge crowd, it's not a one-on-one, everyone's there. I think that I strongly believe that would have helped.
Yeah.
The show.
Well, I mean, and my argument has always been it's the finale. Like this is the Super Bowl. Like this is it. This is where you have a moment and it's either a make or break moment. You don't get to just walk away because you feel entitled. I mean, this is why I've said the Kardashians struggled because once you have like Kendall and Kylie and they're just like boundaries and you're not going to see our real life and Kendall's only going to talk about her horse and Kylie's not going to show us her relationship or her kids or her home life or anything, like it hinders the show because then there's no reality that we're seeing play out.
Yeah, and again, I love my audience and I'm loyal to my audience. I don't take for granted the fact that people choose to take time out of their day or their evening to watch your shows for an hour or two.
Yeah.
And the most you can give them is some reality. That's it. That's it. That's it. And to think that you're bigger than that as a reality star is going to be the detriment to your career and the show. Yeah. And last but not least, the reason why an ensemble show is successful is because of the ensemble. Yeah. Yes, you can be the breakout star. You could be the queen bee, the force multiplier. You still need the cast in order for this entire machine to work. And when you think you're bigger than the machine, is going to be the downfall of you in the show.
Because it wasn't just Ariana refusing to interact with Tom. It was her trying to prevent the other cast members from being able to move on with Tom. Like Sheena, who was like, this is my friend, I'm struggling. And Ariana wanted nothing to do with that. Every time Sheena would call her, Ariana would just roll her eyes and be like, I don't want to hear this. And I feel like her and Katie just kind of took a backseat this season. What did you think of Katie revealing that she actually quit the show before it was announced that they were all fired?
I love an ego. Like, listen, I love a healthy ego. Like, well, actually, guys, just so you know, I quit. Okay, Katie girl. And I love Katie. I think Katie's fun, but Katie, we were looking for the others to sort of like come back.
I just want to like, what were you quitting the show to do? The sandwich?
Right,
Come on, like this, like let's be real here, Kate. Like, what did you like? How were you expecting to pay your bills without that paycheck?
Sometimes people quit to avoid getting fired. Do you know what I mean? So I saw that and I actually like laughed. And again, I love Katie. I think Katie's fun, but it was obvious. Like, honey, no one asked for this.
Well,
but
no, go ahead.
No, but I am going to miss Lala.
Oh, yes, of
You
course
know?
I thought Lala really was the voice of reason and
Yeah.
really was the voice of the audience, in the final, scene where she, like, breaks down about Ariana. I mean, that's why the producers and the editors made her the narrator in that final scene is because she really was looking at it from, the lens that the loudmouths on social media didn't want to see it because they just wanted to be loyal to Ariana. But, Lala, I think, really held her own that season and was able to stand up to Ariana and was able to, like, kind of let Sandoval, give him enough rope to hang himself, but also give him enough of an opportunity to win back over the audience as well. Like, she let him play his cards. Um, yeah, I think Lala really was the breakout of that season for sure, this final season.
No, I could not, agree more. The thing with her to me was the fact that she was so real and honest. And if we're gonna talk about anybody who carried the show, it was Lala.
Yeah.
Like carried the show. Um, so I'm gonna miss her a lot, but I did see that she's gonna appear on the Valley, which is great because she lives in the Valley.
Yeah.
And Lala is a great reality star. You can say what you want about her, love her or hate her. She understands the assignment. And listen, you may disagree with me, and that's fine. Tom Sandoval understands the assignment.
Yeah.
Like he's a great villain. He knows how to be himself and shows it, and is sort of like unfiltered about it. I'm not mad at James Kennedy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss him. So, I would like to see them back on my television in some capacity.
Well, we have the Valley, and hopefully they can bring some new life into the Valley because I feel like, they were still good. I mean, I feel like the cast itself, like, had not been, on the same page, especially following Scandal. But I always kind of knew, I was like, after Scandal, like, the show's going to struggle because that's like the peak, and there's not going to be any opportunity for them to recreate that. And the expectation coming out of Scandal was so high with the audience that they were always going to struggle a bit this season. I just didn't realize it was going to be to the level where, it really did feel like Ariana was trying to draw this line in the sand and everybody had to kind of pick a side. Otherwise, she didn't want to film with them. She didn't want to interact with them. I thought the way that she treated Sheena was awful. And I got Sheena's always been very consistent of, like, she's always in the middle and she always wants to see both sides and she always wants to, and you need a player like Sheena on a reality show because that's what helps the resolution.
Agreed. So, in terms of the new cast, bring it on.
I'm here. I'm still here. Hold on one sec. There we go.
Sorry. That was Ariana and her team making sure
she was doing her voodoo on me. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what I don't have high hopes for the reboot, though. I just feel like the Vanderpump Rules that we fell in love with was just such lightning in a bottle that recreating that, we saw, like, Lohan Beach Club, and we saw what happens at the Abbey.
Wait, like, Zach, hold on. When I say to you, I want to scream on the top of my lungs, but I don't want to, like, get kicked out from my building. The fact that you mentioned Lohan Beach Club makes me want to scream. That is the funniest. I thought I was the only person who watched it.
Well, but my point to it is, like, we had What Happens at the Abbey. We had Very Cavallari. That, like, we've had so many reiterations of Vanderpump Rules that have always bombed because you can't recreate that magic.
I forgot about the app. Listen, the app is a good time. You know what I mean? Just not for television. Yeah. Very Cavallari. I'm obsessed with Krista Cavallari, but I do agree with you. I'm still stuck on Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club in Mykonos. I was like, what is this? And the other sad part, I'm like, where the F is Lindsay Lohan? I need her in every frame. I'm only here to see her. I
just love her. I just remember the promo and she's like, I'm a boss bitch. And she had that, like, awkward snap, and I was like, okay. It was so bad, but so good.
Love you, Lindsay.
Oh, she looks great. Her new face is working for her.
Why are you saying new face, Zach?
She got a new face.
What do you mean? Like,
She looks like she's 23 again. She did a Freaky Friday something. She looks great.
Where's Allie Lohan, by the way?
Oh, that's a good question. Allie,
Right?
even Dina. What happened to Dina?
I love me some Dina, baby.
I want to see Dina on a Housewives show.
Can we get her in New York City?
New York City.
Can you imagine Dina and Dorinda?
Yes.
Yes.
Now Dorinda and Marge are fighting that I think we cross over. We bring Marge into, we do like a East Coast, we do something. We just get rid of this current, we get rid of Bryn and Jessel and Jenna Lyon. Like we just scrap them, pretend that that was a fever dream that we're not going to relive. And then season 16, we just rework it back.
I'm here for it, brother.
Bring in the Countess. She was just singing Bethany got run over by a reindeer. Did you see the videos of her from her cabaret show?
I did. And listen, honey, if I had to pick a favorite New York City housewife, and I love all the girls, it may be Countess. You know why? She's always herself.
She really is. I mean, I love the TikToks that she's just smoking her cigarette. Chic, c'est la vie. C'est bon, c'est bon. Money
Yes,
can't
and she's trapped in season 6, and I'm not mad at it.
It's like
the Countess is trapped, girl. But I'm not mad at it.
It's so good. Are you mad at Bethany and her new TikTok trajectory?
Listen, I love Bethany. I mean, let's talk about the OG force multiplier of New York City. That is Bethany Frankel. I didn't see on my bingo card that she would be a TikTok sensation. I did not see that coming at all. Shocked. Like I'm beyond shocked. But I think at the end of the day, she knows how to remain relevant. She's a smart, savvy businesswoman. And I think she understands this. There's a new crop of people who don't know her because they're younger.
Mm-hmm.
And they never watch Housewives. So I think what Bethany is doing, which is genius, she's trying to generate a new audience, and she's going to TikTok to do that. The whole thing with like, remember she was like rating makeup and stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I understand it, but I'm not lying when I say I do miss the Bethany that was on New York City, where she would read the girls, talk shit, and promote her businesses, plural, and was a boss woman. I do miss that.
I miss Bethany too. I mean, but to that point about like TikTok, you're right. She's introducing herself to a whole, and even if they just see her as like the cringe makeup lady that my mom used to like on TV, like they still are familiar with her. Like she's keeping herself relevant with chicken salad and with makeup. Remember when she was giving her makeup to the woman at TJ Maxx and she's like, take it. And she's like, I can't. She's like, I will call the CEO of TJ Maxx right now and let him know that Bethany Frankel says you can have my used makeup.
Yes.
She's still creating moments.
It's so cringy, but again, it's funny because on Twitter, I think like 2 weeks ago, somebody posted the greatest scene that the Real Housewives of New York City has ever seen. And it's the scene where Bethany's in her bed in her hotel room, and she calls in Countess Luann, and Countess Luann's wearing sunglasses because she's clearly hungover. And Bethany pretty much tells her like, yeah, Tom is cheating on you, and I got evidence. And then she's like, and Ramona's like, you're a good person. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Hand me the skinny girl margarita. Cringy, but amazing. And that's the Bethany I want back on television.
And smart because she also knew, let me chug this bottle of Skinny Girl Margarita on the show. Like she knew marketing, she knew how to create, which was so much more subtle than like, it was in your face, but it was subtle. Whereas like Ramona's like, here's my new Ageless by Ramona. And I'm just going to rub it all over my chest right now in this random scene, like where the ambulance is coming to pick up Sonia. It was like, what? Oh, those were the golden days.
I was just about to say the good old days. And my last example, sorry, Bethany, I love you. My last example of her amazing marketing. Remember this scene? And to me, I will always remember this because it was the first time as a producer that I got it. I got the power of television. Remember when she pulled up in her car that has Skinny Girl Margarita emblazoned all over it? And the Countess said, really? You're driving up in your skinny girl margarita car, and then Bethany Stapp. I mean, you're wearing Gucci. Is Gucci paying you? You have on a Gucci belt. This is my brand. This is my brand. And in that moment, I said, she is the smartest reality star at this time.
Yep.
Love you,
And
Bethany.
she still talks about the Bethany clause.
She does. No, she's smart.
She's very smart. She just had on, I just saw she was on an airplane with Bose, the new woman on the new housewife on Beverly Hills. And she's like filming Bose in the airplane. And Bose like, oh, hi, Bethany.
Like, okay, hi. You don't remember me? We met.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, nice
I'm like,
to meet you.
Again, Bethany's the queen of cringe, but it works for her.
Because it creates these moments that then we continue to talk about.
Genius.
It is. So how would you fix RHONY? Or like, what would you, from a producer's perspective, you see RHONY being a reboot that flops, and Vanderpump could very likely go down that same sort of rabbit, well, not rabbit hole, it can go down that toilet as well. Like, how would you save a reboot show like that?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think enough time has passed to bring the old girls back. I think I would do a mixture of both. You know, not this current new cast. I think if it was my choice, I would bring back some of the older. When I say older, meaning the OGs, not age. Yeah. Some of the OGs, and mix them up with some new crop of women that they're actually friends with.
Yeah.
You know, the reason why Ultimate Girls Trip season 2 was so great is because it was nice to see Dorinda be Dorinda, and I enjoyed Jill being Jill. You know what I mean? It was sort of like, I enjoy seeing my OGs continuing to be self-deprecating.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I think that's the way to fix it. I think bring them back and bring some new girls in, and let's have a party again.
Yeah, I think the difference between the classic Housewives and the newer Housewives, like the women that are starting to come onto the shows now, is the like you said, older, but not speaking of age, the older Housewives, they gave it all. And they didn't care, you know, they didn't care how they looked. They didn't care how this affected their reputation at the end of the day. They were just like Bethany said. She's like, we need to give credit to Luann and Sonia and Ramona and Dorinda. She's like, because they would have died for the show. If the producers came to them and like, okay, this season we need a funeral, they were going to fight over whose funeral it got to be. Like Ramona and Sonia would have fought over whose funeral that season would have been.
Yeah. And they just got it.
Yeah.
And again, you can't, and this is somebody, me, Carlos King, my first reality job was season 1, day 1 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Right? Season 1, day 1 of the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I was around during the primetime era of it being reality stars who didn't even know they were stars. Who we saw Nene Leakes get a DNA test to figure out if her father was her actual, biological dad.
Yeah.
We saw Danielle Staub walk out of her backyard with high heels and a bikini just to sit by the pool. But talk about the fact that she was engaged 19 times. We saw Caroline and Dina's sisters married to brothers. It was, I miss when it was just like real. And I think the unfortunate part is this new generation of people who want to be in reality television, they're in it for the wrong reasons. They want the instant fame that it provides for them, but they don't want to do their job. They don't want to talk about things, and then get mad when you say, but this is actually what's happening. I'm not making this up. Like, this is what's happening in your life. Well, I don't want to talk about it. Respect my boundaries.
Yeah, that was one thing I will give Erica is even, amid all the legal woes that she was going through with Tom, she was still like, yeah, and he crashed his car and he tumbled down a cliff. Like, she was still like talking about things she shouldn't.
During a blizzard in California.
Yeah, and then flipped his car 5 times in the snow on the way home. Like, she was still at least talking about, like, she wasn't shying away from it. Like, she was still, you know, Tom's house is broken into and he confronted the burglar and then had to go have eye surgery. And my son went over and had to go and help him. And he flipped his car 5 times on the way home in the snow.
The best scene ever. And do you remember, was it Kyle she was talking to? And Kyle was like,
What?
because she said it
Recently?
she said it the exact way you just said it. It was
Yeah.
very deadpan, monotone, and like whatever. And I remember thinking to myself, Erica, I'm trying to defend you. This sounds crazy. But hey, it is what it is. But I will always give the props to the group of women and men who started this genre that we love.
Mhm.
And I do think it's disrespectful to the sort of like architects of reality television when you try to infiltrate in their territory and you don't even get half of what they gave. It's like I want to see these women pass a torch to somebody the way you kind of see it in the music industry, like how like Beyonce performed at the Kennedy Center to honor Barbara Streisand,
Yeah.
and Barbara Streisand gave Beyonce a hit nod, like you did a good job, girl. You want to see like Nene Leakes, Ramona, Bethany. You know, you want to see these women sort of like, now that girl is good. Like she has next up, and I don't think a lot of women who are housewives are going to carry the torch.
Yeah. What do you think about Jersey? Tiwa Tombo. We'll get into Jersey and then we'll wrap. But what are your thoughts about what should happen with Jersey moving forward? I hope they don't do a reboot on Jersey too, because I feel like we've already seen. I think Dubai, what it is I think the audience, like, we miss the women that we watched for so many years. And I think that's why Dubai was a hard sell. It's like people didn't want to get to know 8 new women all over again. And especially when it's a little more curated. And I feel like that's what's happening with the RHONY reboot. I'm afraid for Vanderpump Rules, but how are you feeling about Jersey?
Keep Teresa, and listen, it is what it is. That woman is the face of Jersey.
Yeah.
It's she's the OG, and not one woman on that show, and even Jacqueline Larita has said this, who's also an OG. You could like her, dislike her, whatever. Teresa Giudice has never shied away from giving her real life,
Mm-hmm.
and I am witness to that.
Yeah.
A witness to it. Okay, she's given everything to the show. Going to prison, going through a divorce, her parents passing away, divorcing, like I said, divorcing Joe, getting married, having Audriana, struggling with her brother and her sister-in-law, her cousins, Rosie and Kat. This
Mm-hmm.
woman has given everything to this show. And she deserves every single success that she has today and more. I need her to come back. Because again, I don't want to see women on the show for the wrong reasons. So in my opinion, bring back Teresa, Dolores, and y'all can choose between Rachel and Danielle.
Wait, no more Jen Aiden?
I'm also smart. I am a Jen Aiden fan and a stan.
Yeah.
I don't think she's coming back. My opinion. I
Yeah.
would love to see her come back. If I had to bet $2, I'm not betting those $2.
I think she would bet those $2. I think she really believes.
but I would love to see her come back. So my realistic prediction is Teresa, Dolores, Rachel, or Danielle.
And we
And
just
then
let Melissa sail off into the sunset.
I think Melissa will do a lot of things for Bravo. I think Melissa is somebody who is appreciated. So I think Melissa will do a lot of stuff for Bravo and Peacock for sure, for sure. When it comes to this new possible reiteration of the show, I don't see Melissa being chosen over Teresa.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it's hard because I feel like Teresa's been on the show for so long, but we've also seen them cut like Nene and cut Vicky, like these, big OGs that started the show that were the big personalities that carried it for so long. I don't know. Part of me wants to see them, transition with Melissa because at least it brings, a different fresh mix of women, and it kind of gives Jersey maybe a new life. But I also don't know if the audience is ready for a new life, and I think that's why these reboot models aren't being successful, because people like what they like, right? And they like, you know, it's the reason so many people want Vicky to come back to OC.
Yeah, but I think the one thing Teresa has going for herself is she still remains to be a topic of conversation. People are so curious about her marriage.
Yeah.
People are so curious about her children. You know, listen, Gia, Giudice, Melania are like Housewives juniors, and you know what I mean. I think they have next the way Northwest has next on the Kardashians that will survive until eternity. So I think that's the difference here. I think Teresa has a lot more story to tell than the rest of her counterparts.
Yeah. All right, Carlos. We have so much more to talk about, so you'll need to come on again soon. But thank you for coming on the podcast and chatting with me again.
No, Zach, thank you for having me. And you'll be on my podcast next week.
Yes, I will. You'll need to come back once they announce they've canceled the new RHONY.
I promise you I will come back.
Please shout out your podcast so everyone can go and tune in, because I'm going to be on next week.
Yes. So my podcast is called Reality with the King. We drop 2 episodes a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And to all of Zack's fans, he will be on my Tuesday episode next week. So make sure you guys listen to the episode, because we're going to talk about some very interesting things together that I'm going to surprise Zack with.
Oh, I can't wait. I love surprises. Listen, you know I'm always going to give you hot takes. So if anything comes in my mouth, you better be ready for it.
I'm ready, baby. Listen. I'm going to tell you what I tell my stars. Just be yourself.
I'm always myself, to a fault. That is my fault. And Twitter drags me accordingly. Carlos, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I love you always. I can't wait to chat with you again next week. Guys, go and listen, subscribe to his podcast, and get ready. More tea to be spilled.
I love you, Zack.
Thank you, Carlos. Bye. Guys, you can follow me at Just Plain Zack all over the internet, and the new Zack Pack Zacktivated merch is out now. The link will be in the description below, and I'm going to do shout outs on Instagram right now so that you can go and buy up all the merch. I do know that we have an issue with the Apple podcast feed. We're working on trying to get it fixed, so just hang in there and know that it will be up and running again soon. But you can listen on Spotify. You can listen and watch on Spotify right now. All right. Thank you, guys. Love you. Mean it. Ciao for now.